Well, as we wrap up this week of applying the right method to different kinds of writing, I want to end by talking about how this method can help students to break down large writing projects at school. I hope that you've enjoyed this short series on applying the right method to different kinds of writing. Today, I want to focus in on students. So, you already know that I'm a professor, but I also homeschool our kids. So, education is very near and dear to my heart. But I also know that for students who haven't yet learned good organization and discipline kinds of skills, that writing can be a really intimidating subject, especially when it's a big paper. And big, of course, is relative. For students, writing a 5-page paper can be just as daunting as it is for adults to write an entire book. So, a few videos ago, I talked about how we could use the right method for academic writers. And in that video, I also applied it to those doing higher education, like graduate work or doctoral work. So, if you're interested in learning more about that kind of student writing, check out that video. But today we're going to focus on younger student writers. So, the same principles apply. Take a small chunk of time, write a small chunk of words, and do it consistently over the days that you need to get the project done. So if you have 2 weeks to write a report, what if you could work for 15 minutes today and 15 minutes tomorrow and work for about 15 minutes for the next 3 weeks? You could easily get that report done. And not only would you get it done, but it probably will be even better because remember, we've talked about that thinking time that you have. That's such an asset when you break big projects into smaller projects and write consistently. And what a great life skill to teach the students in your life. If you could just break things down into smaller pieces and tackle it a little bit at a time, just like our friend the tortoise back here, if you could go slow and steady, you could get it done. It's not quite as glamorous or as stressful as waiting to the last minute and then trying to be the hare crossing the finish line and then not feeling as good about the quality of your work because you had to race to get it done. Now, sometimes we do that because we're self sabotaging, right? I couldn't have done a very good job because I had to do it really fast. And it's a way of kind of making ourselves feel better if we think we're not qualified. But I'm telling you, this is a life skill for building confidence too. You can become more confident when you do things consistently. So if you have a student who has an English class that requires a lot of writing, or maybe any other class that requires a lot of writing, these skills in the right method can be really beneficial. Break it down, do a little bit each day, create a writing space that works for you, pair writing with things that you enjoy. All of these concepts can be really helpful for student writers. And just like we've been saying all along, it may work better to use time than to use a word count for younger writers. Make it age appropriate. 500 words, if that's a doable amount for your young writer, then that can be a goal to start with, but 100 words could also work. 30 minutes may be a good amount of time, but if you have younger writers, maybe just 15 or 20 minutes would do it. We want our students to be good, solid writers, even if their ambition is never to write a book. Having good writing skills is a good life skill. We don't want our young students to be daunted by writing and develop a fear of it. I know people like this who've had writing assignments that have been difficult and they just seem so big and so overwhelming that they threw them together, didn't feel good about what they turned in, and then got negative feedback from their educators. Your students don't need to experience that. They can learn the life skills of the right method that will help them to break down a big project into smaller pieces and get it done and done well. So maybe the right method can be helpful to the students in your life. Remember that I have an entire playlist of this 100 days, and that may be helpful to the students in your life as well. Happy writing, and I'll see you in the next one.